Come on. And we are live.
Hey.
Happy Friday.
I'm sick, by the way. For everyone out there in YouTube and LinkedIn and, well, not Twitter land, but everywhere else. I don't think we have Twitter hooked up.
Right. Somebody hasn't changed that stream link yet. No, we are we didn't really. I actually forgot to promote this one, by the way, on my LinkedIn. I forgot to email it out. So anyway, might be just us talking to ourselves today, but at the very least, we are here. We are live.
Yeah,
on our YouTube, our weekly YouTube live. And the funny part of this is that you'll probably see this later, some point in time, if you're a YouTube watcher or you follow any of our socials over at Tier 11. We are repurposing these for some advertising, which is going to be probably its own YouTube live when we actually talk about it. So, and see how the effectiveness of that campaign works. But today, we are pretty excited because today's the first day where we're talking Meta.
Yeah.
Meta ads. Everyone says John Moran, he's a Google guy.
You're the googly guy, aren't you?
He's a traffic guy. He's a strategy guy. He's so much more than just a Google guy. So actually today, now that you're overseeing all the traffic folks, all the strategists inside Tier 11, you're getting a pretty nice cross section of Google and Meta and seeing how they really do work together. They're actually enemies no more, which was one of our most popular podcast titles that we ever did. Google and Meta, enemies no more. But it really is. I mean, they do work synergistically together, and it depends on what your product offering is. It depends on what your kind of business that you're running. But a lot of the same strategies apply, because I mean, an algorithm is an algorithm in a lot of ways. So there's a lot of commonalities. So today, let's delve into some of the meta stuff. Like, what have you found? Let's just start this way. Like, you obviously you're classically trained in Google, although you trained yourself. You didn't go to school. There's no Google school out there. You're self-taught. But what are the differences and what are the similarities between the platform from what you're finding?
Yeah, for sure. So what's interesting, I think, though, is that the way that you measure it cross applies to platforms. So when you're looking at, okay, what is my NCAC? What is my effective cost per new visit? What is my new versus returning users? How cold is this traffic? When you can keep that mindset activated while you're testing different platforms, you can see the way that those platforms will interact with those metrics based on your input, new campaigns versus new creative versus new audience versus new bidding strategy versus new ad type, yada, yada, yada. But if you keep that same mindset of those MPIs, you can find success in each platform. Now, each platform is going to act differently. But as long as you keep that mindset as, I don't care whatever happens, this is how I'm gauging that campaign. And we're doing that through Wicked reports. Is it new traffic? How much does it cost per new click? Is it new customers? Is it returning customers? How is this affecting my top line? How much ad spend? And yada, yada, yada. So we find that each platform and each campaign type in each platform all interact differently with those. And they all have their own kind of goals. It's like, okay, I'm going to get cold traffic over here. And then it's like, all right, I'm going to get more warm traffic over here, but I'm going to show in-app better. Like, you kind of take yourself out of that issue, that crap, that in-app metrics that are basically designed to show you a specific result in a campaign with everything is it's all junk inside of it. Right. So when you keep that mindset on top,
it believes it's self-contained when in fact it's actually not. There's lots of forces interacting and influencing that individual campaign.
Right. And that's where people kind of break down and like, well, I'll just do Meta, and well, I'll just do Google. And you can, but when you can cross-train yourself on these platforms to become very, very good with, okay, if we launch that campaign type, this is what that's going to do. So how do we stop that inside or elsewhere? Yada, yada, yada. And that's what I want to kind of share with you all today is we ran an L1, that we had Advantage Plus, and then we did some creative testing. And we found out that the creative testing, you can actually scale it in a really, really cool way. That it's an old tactic, but again, like, what is old is new. Again, like, I think it was like from an article like 6 years ago or something like that. We're like, I wonder if that would work again. And scaling by cloning ABOs, which is what we're going to be discussing today. And how we actually do creative testing now in an environment that is typically designed to have this fall into a worse performance through the transition out of creative testing into a main campaign. We're actually not doing that. So we're going to discuss creative testing and scaling the proven creative that is working.
Yeah, what is old is now new again. It's interesting because it's like you see this, and I've been doing this for a while. You've been doing this for a while. I've been doing it for over 15 years now, believe it or not. And you try something, it stops working. And then I've seen cycles where there's almost like 3 or 4 or 5 advertising cycles where we've gone back to previous stuff that's worked, like what we're going to be talking about here today with a cloning campaign. We used to separate out all of our individual campaigns into what we refer to as the Michigan method, which was, I think it was 638 individual campaigns. And that's how we would scale. And we would turn stuff on and off based upon like this old methodology of one campaign, one ad set, one creative, and they would all sort of fight against each other and reach a level of scale. And the first time we put it together, we actually broke Meta, or at that point in time, it was just Facebook. We actually broke the actual algorithm because it was too many campaigns. Vlad, who's still with us to this day, was actually one of the ones that actually started it. And then we kept coming back to that same methodology of like, you can actually duplicate stuff. I'm always.
I'm so sorry. I take just a 2 second break. Sorry.
So anyway, so what is old and now it can be new again. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest takeaway is like, if you had something that did work 2, 3, 4 years ago, you can probably go back to it today and maybe even get an even better result. So not that we're going back to the Michigan method style here, which we'll leave links in the show notes. There's got to be some like reference to it somewhere just so people actually know what it is. But the point is like, this is like a lot of stuff does have to get recycled. So,
just becomes another ad tactic, really.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So make sure that you do drop your questions in the comment section wherever you're watching today's show. We'll definitely get to those at the end of the show. And see a lot of familiar names here. Thanks for everybody for showing up here today, even though we didn't promote this at all. So you probably just like popped up on your phone, like, yeah, John and Ralph are live today. So here you are.
Hey.
All right, so take it away. We're talking Meta today. If you're joining the call late, we're going to be getting into some really interesting strategies here, which are sort of older strategies, but now work just as well today.
Yeah. And it's the kind of like goes away from the, Advantage Plus kind of taking over and kind of puts our stupid Meta. The Meta sort fields don't work, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm trying to get this things. There we go. All right, that's gonna have to be good for now. But yeah, it kind of like takes things like Meta's trying to go deeper into one area. We found like an old tactic that still works. Cool. So I'll share the case study here. I'm gonna share screen. All right.
No.
Perfect. Good. Okie dokie. So here's the results. So L1 was our main campaign. It was open targeting. We're only counting new customer purchases. It is a lot of continuity. So we do have a subscription model that is growing. We do have a lot of sales on Amazon. So those are all things that are taken into consideration rather than simply just in-app metrics, which is, the least accurate to how a business is actually performing. So just know that there's more than what we can share on screen here. Actually, I can pop into a continuity model just so I can share that when the time is right. Let's get that all prepared. So while I'm getting prepared on the other screen, I'll be explaining this screen here. The L1 was our main campaign. That was a campaign that's been running for a few months, scaled up. In this last 9 days here, as an example, there is like 28 grand on this campaign here. And I wanted to kind of share
website conversions, I'm sure.
Yep. Website conversions, open targeting, customers excluded, no lookalikes added, and all of the ads were in one ad set. So everything kind of just equal, fight it out to the death. Everyone's sharing the same daily budget from a campaign. So this is a CBO campaign. So our thought process was, well, what if we need to do creative testing? So what we need to have a creative testing campaign. And the creative testing campaign, we called it L0 because it was like pre L1 before it got to L2 and L3, etc. So in the L0 is where we did our creative testing, and that is in ABO. And the ABO, we have a new ad. You're going to see some things here I'll explain here in a moment, but we have each new ad that we want to produce is at 225 days or $225 a day in ABO. So ABO is simply just whenever we launch a new ad, we set a $225 per day. Again, same targeting as our L1, open targeting, customers excluded, etc. But what we found out is that if we look at the in platform CPAs, the cost per new customers, we're starting to see some ones that are actually like vastly outperforming our L1s. And at the time of when we first started seeing this is when we're actually at like 1/4 of the ad spend. So we're like, okay, well, economies of scale. Economy of scale is always going to be cheaper CPAs inside of creative testing. But once you jack this thing up to the size of an L1, then yeah, of course things are going to get worse because we're going to 5x the spend. So we said, well, what if that wasn't the case? What if our creative testing is actually outperforming our L1s? So we said, okay, if creative testing is outperforming existing best performing ads, how do we prove it at scale? Yeah. So instead of, and what we did is we tried to just increase the daily ad spend on an ad, and then it failed. We're like, yep, see, told you. As soon as it went into, a higher spend like the L1s are, it starts to perform worse. Right. There was an article though, and I forget who it was, but there was a person years ago who said they were cloning their campaigns, not in the structure with like creative testing, but they were cloning their ad groups for scale. So it was scaling it at breadth, spending $225 a day, clone it and spend 500 or $450. Right. And then clone it again and keep going it. So you're scaling by cloning.
That's a 2016 strategy right there.
Yeah. Right. And so we're like, let's go back in time and try that again. So what we ended up doing was, I'll open this expansion here. We ended up taking out like $7K in spend. We reduced this one by 44%. We increased this one by 118%. But you see that dropped 22 grand. That only increased by 12. So now they're spending about equal. But this one we're saving about $7,000 in ad spend. Then we look at what it actually had an effect on this. And this is on a similar date range. We're only like 2 days off from this view here, but this is the start and this is the last week's worth of result. I usually like to give last week's of results so that you can kind of see, okay, this is something that you thought was cool in 2022 and now you're regurgitating content. This is actually up until the 19th, which was yesterday. Right. And what you're seeing is that I'll do my little screen draw tool thing. You see that this has been dropped 48% in cost, where you do get an economy of scale with cheaper NCAC. Usually when you spend less, you're not pushing, you do see a better performance. Right. And then on the other side, though, we're starting to scale this up.
That's your CBO campaign. Right?
I'm sorry.
Open targeting.
Our L1 CBO open targeting, we're pulling back that ad spend. We dropped it by 48%.
Got it. CBO, campaign budget optimization, if you don't know what that is, but most of the people on this call probably do. So go ahead.
So campaign budget optimization, this one is being reduced and you're seeing an economy of scale get better with cheaper NCAC. Now, at the same time, we're reallocating that ad spend to our creative testing L0 ABO, which is the ad set controlled spend per day. And that's going up by 34%, but that's also seeing a cheaper NCAC. So our NCAC, these two are comparative. Now this one looks worse, this one looks better. However, they're both collectively dropping as we switch over. So that compounding effort here, which is taking out more spend than we're increasing, but also seeing an increase of the amount of total sales kind of going up at the same rate as going down. What that compounds to is 10% less spend, 20% more new sales, 18% more new customers, and our NCAC dropping by 11.4%. So for 10 or for $7,000 less, we got 20% more new customers at a cheaper NCAC. So okay, so how are we doing this? Well, we're taking our creative testing campaign, and when something does, when a new ad that we're testing does good, like Barber here, for example, that's getting $125 NCAC. Like, all right, well, let's clone that. So now we have a Barber up C1. And then after some time, this also worked its way down from a 250 down to 155 NCAC. So basically purchase and see in-app NCAC. We'll call it that. So that one's starting to go. It was like, all right, well, let's clone it again. So now we're doing Barbara C2. That also worked its way down to a 141. We're like, excellent. Let's clone it 2 more times, a C3 and a C4. And that actually happened on the same date range here. So these two are now starting off at 340 and 250, and they will work themselves down to where the other Barbara's at.
So nothing changed aside from you just duplicated the ad set.
We literally just hit duplicate.
That's all it is.
Yep. And now,
what's old is new again, ladies and gentlemen.
And we're duplicating these at $225 per day. So each time we duplicate it, it's an incremental 225 per day.
Yeah.
Or because I suck at math and I don't want to take off my socks to count over 10, let's do 225 times 30.
We don't want to see your feet either. So
I can only count to 10 with my hands. Count to 20, I need my socks off. So it's an extra, basically $6,700 per month in scale each time we clone it.
That's pretty significant.
Right. So 225 times 30. And if you do that, obviously if you take 1 and you make 5, well, 225 times 5 times 30, that's a 38 grand increase.
Yeah.
So that's what we're basically doing. That's a large scale to see in-app CPA and then also seeing the top line also hold. So we thought, okay, now how do we do this yet again? Well, we're like, let's take Joan. And we took Joan and cloned Joan. We started Joan and then we cloned Joan and then we cloned Joan. And what happens? Well, it sucks. It sucks and it still sucks. All right. Well, that's pretty definitive creative testing.
Right.
So we thought, okay, well, if Joan here, the C0, C1, and C2, again, you're kind of seeing nomenclature that's done on the fly. So it's not very organized, but we know what's going on. And we're like, okay, well, that collectively got a 321, a 384, and nothing for 390 yet. Well, dang, if you take the average of what Barbara was doing, which is about 210 to 190, the first 3 here, okay, this creative doesn't work. Well, what we're also looking at too is that our creative testing and our L1 ABO is much colder than our L1s. So 62% cold versus 49. So this actually
surprised it's that high, actually.
I know. We haven't seen 62 embedded forever. But
I can't remember the last time. Yeah.
Right. But what's cool is because we're taking Joan and we're cloning it 3 times, it's like this is 3 chances. Like cold traffic, no. Cold traffic again, no. Cold traffic a 3rd time, no. Done. We know this sucks. But when we take Barbara and we said cold traffic, it worked. Cold traffic again, it worked. Cold traffic again, it worked. Cold traffic again, it's worked. Okay, great.
Yeah.
We are not going to stop cloning Barbara until Barbara C12 fails.
Okay, so a question for you here. You duplicated Barbara though. Before we move on, like, did you duplicate the 3 times all at once, or did you do it over a period of time?
Over a month.
Over a month. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Every week we're like, Barbara's still doing good. Clone her again.
Clone her again. So you look in there, you check everything, see the CPAs coming down.
Starts high after 7 days, gets better. Clone again. Start high after 7 days, comes down, and clone again.
I mean, you are using an in-app number here, though. You're using cost per results, but you're also double checking it with Wicked.
Yep. And so we go inside of here, and then we look at what is Barbara's NCAC here. Now, this we're using a really strict version of our measurement. Barbara is doing. Where's Barbara's C0?
Your screen's a little bit blurry, but
oh yeah, let me just find.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So what we had to do is take like the highs, lows. What you're going to see here too is that we're using a first click accrual of the last 7 days. And so that is like literally the most, it's like a 7-day look back on first click. It's very, very, very strict.
Most stringent. Right.
Exactly.
So by accrual, tell everybody what you mean by that.
Accrual basically means in the last 7 days, only the ads that only the spend and the users and the clicks only in the last 7 days that ad had is going to be counted. If they clicked last week and bought this week, we don't count them.
Yeah.
So
it's a harsh measure. Yeah.
Harsh measure. Yep. And then this one is also doing purchase NC. So we have 2 points. The first click accrual inside of Wicked is always higher and it's always lower in-app. But you take the collectiveness. How are the in-app first click and the external app first click NCACs compared to the other set of creative? If it's worse, then we know, okay, that one didn't work.
Accrual meaning a methodology of accounting for people to, like, when you invoice, you don't necessarily collect the money, right? Yeah,
when
it's
you get the
almost
click,
you don't necessarily get the money. It's like your first engagement, but you're being you're assuming, all right, accrual, I am counting it as an accrual because as soon as I invoice, but I immediately get paid on that one click.
exactly. So it's really, and with creative testing, I want to see how's that last week of that working. Like, yeah, don't count the person that because it's only 60% cold, maybe interacted with Joan and then converted on Barbara. I don't care. How did the first click on Joan do? How the first click on Barbara do? So it's really like the most. If I was to push this and clone this, I can only count on that happening yet again and again and again and again. Exactly.
Barbara is a better creative.
Exactly.
Now, man, I need to get you like a Halls menthol.
I know.
Drop
I'm
or
like
something.
chugging water as my throat's killing me. Sorry. So the other thing,
see the dedication here on the YouTube.
I know.
Levels. Even when he's sick, he still shows up.
I think I have a fever too. I am dying here. I'm like, I'm hot, but I'm cold. It's weird.
Well, if you start passing out, then I guess the show's over.
Right. So here's the other part. Now, I want to share with you the new thing that we're doing because of what we found. So here's the next way that because of what we found, we're doing a new version of this in creative testing. And this is where I think the really cool genius is going to come out of the structure. This is a new campaign. It's another L1 ABO. And this one was launched 5 days ago. You see, this is in September 1st. This one's September 15th. Oh, sorry. September 1st, September 15th. So new version, same exact structure as our original creative testing ABO. So we just cloned it. Now watch this. Because we knew that as we clone them, we saw the average of that creative testing average out to good, or the other ones that we're cloning average out to bad. So I said, what if we just got there at step one? So this means we have a new creative. We have Diane, Claudia, Lori, Susan, and Pam. Those are our new creatives.
No Barbara.
No Barbara. Barbara's already off to the races. She's being cloned. Barbara's being cloned. It's funny. You know when you have a good work, you're like, man, I wish I could clone them. We are doing that.
You can actually do it.
That was great creative. I wish we could clone that. Now you can.
Now you can. Look at this. Now, if it only worked that way in the company corporate world. Anyway.
I know, right? So check this out. Watch this now. We have 5 new pieces of creative. And so I said, what if we did this? What if we took all 5, started them all at the same time with $100 per day budgets each?
Okay.
So $500 worth of creative testing per ad broken out between $100.
Right.
Because there's going to be some that'll do good and there's some that'll be bad. But if you could take the average of those 5 versus the average of the other 5 versus the average of the other 5, now you get multiple points. You don't have to like clone to see if it dies. You're just doing 5 at once. And if this one, for example, if we're like, okay, watch this. Susan, because we have 5 Susans, if Susan does well right off the bat, we get super cheap NCACs. Now we're under $100 because the economies of scale means unless you spend, but if you get one, boom, you're immediately successful. Right. And if not, you can wait 6 more days without hemorrhaging a ton of cash.
They might have interacted with Barbara at some point in time.
That's exactly right, which is why we have to go over to the other tool called Wicked and then say, well, what about our new version here? And say, how did it usually resets. We do click date, first click only, redo this. Now we have to say, okay, if this was first touch, first click, accrual on conversion only, yada, 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 915.24, what is our NCAC? And now this one's spending $2,400 getting 246. It's better than this one, is better than that one, is better than this one. Now, obviously, spend is higher, but we're seeing this is sort of becoming more efficient. All right, so let's look at this now. Can I? Oh, I can. That's nice. All right.
You can look at that.
So let's look at Suzanne versus Pam. All right. So now if we have Suzanne, I wish I could sort, but unfortunately that's it's not a bug. It's just a feature that hasn't been invented yet.
That's right. All we have to do is ask them to put it in. They'll put it in for you.
So Suzanne's got nothing, 1, 2, nothing. Okay. That's first click accrual. Inside of here, Suzanne's got, again, nothing, 1, 2. Excellent. So
but
out of
$98 in ad spend on all of them, 98, 97, in and around there.
Yep. So now we have to take a look in here and say, okay, if I spent, let's just use this as a dumb example of napkin math. Basically 98 times 5, okay, divided by 2, 245 NCAC. Excellent. So far, this is good. You can see that Pam sucks. Same spend, nothing happened. Okay, well, we'll give it another. Obviously, we've only been launching this 4 days ago, so let's give this more time than 4 days. But we have a clear multi-winner versus a clear multi-tested loser. Okay, let's do it again. What about Lori? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, this is doing just as good as Suzanne. It's got 2 winners, 3 losers. Also, it is doing better than Pam. Let's do the next one. Claudia. Okay, Claudia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing, 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 nothing. Okay, so we have 2 winners, 2 losers. Excellent. What about the next one? Diane. Holy shit. Diane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. Diane's winning. So immediately, for example, what I would do is I would shut off Claudia, I would shut off Pan, and I would clone Diane from 5 to 10 or 15. And I would take all the ones that were pausing and reallocate to the ones that are winning. And then the incremental spend comes in by bringing in 5 new ones with brand new $100 per day spends. So we consolidate, clone again, add an incremental. So you go from 500 to 1,000. So now 1,000 is over here. And then you add another 500. That's 15. So you went from 1,000 worth of half winners to 1,000 of all winners plus 500 of new.
Devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Diane, for example. 3 conversions so far. That's just a positive signal for you. You
4
wouldn't be making
so far.
Oh, 4. All right.
4.
You moved the screen, but the point is it is like that's an early indication right out of the gate. There's something that's actually working here. However, at what point in time do you actually make the decision to do what you said? Either keep, kill, combine. You know.
Every week.
Every week. So you're
every
looking
week.
at this.
Yeah. Can you go ahead and hit that share screen? I'm sorry. I took it off and I gave it back to you. My apologies.
Yeah. There we go.
Apologies. So here, let's do one thing. Hold on.
Diane. Say 1, 2. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's a Lori in there.
Sorry, everyone. I'm stuck on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Geez. So Diane, we got 100. Diane, we got 49. Diane, that we have 0. Diane, we have 98. And Diane, we have 97. Dang. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we actually count 5 inside in-app. We only saw 4. 2, 3, 4. So that's even an additional point that says, hey, Wicked data is showing that Diane is absolutely crushing it. And it's even showing more data than in-app.
The 5th conversion might be a Barbara inside the app, right? Because you're using accrual here, first click accrual in Wicked to determine exactly like the harshest way in which to measure the effectiveness of an ad.
I'm thinking that that Meta actually missed one.
Okay.
So Meta saying there's 4 attributed to Diane. First click accrual says there's 5 attributed to Diane.
Oh, okay.
So we got 2, 3, 4. Sorry, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, Meta is going to measure last click though in app.
Yeah.
So that would make sense.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it could have made Barbara look better. I don't know. But first click accrual, I mean, what's crazy is when he said these 5 all got 0s. These 5 got 2. These 5 got 5. Excellent.
So for this, like your $100 a day budget, like your ideal cost per acquisition, you're shooting for an NCAC of what here? Like what is the goal for the customer?
Yeah, right now we try to keep it at least like in Wicked. If Wicked's our source of truth, 200 or below. If Meta is a source of truth, 150 or below. That usually has the best effect on Amazon and continuity.
Okay. So
it's
continuity. We know this guy. This is Chris, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he knows his numbers, which is super important to understand all that. The second question I have for you is, because the algorithm in Meta says you need at least 50 conversions per ad set per week, are you giving it enough with $100 a day budget on the ad set, or you don't care? You're just looking for some kind of signal that says this creative works. Like, what's your sense?
Right. Looking for some type of signal that says this creative works. It's proven at scale. So if we have one that's like a breakout, we're like, man, this thing is actually just crushing it. Like Diane is crushing it right now. And so we're going to just keep Diane on. We're going to clone Diane, make sure that Diane can continue to perform. And if Diane does continue to perform, she will be continually cloned with the failed ad spend from the other ones.
Right. And just so we're clear, this is open targeting on all these ad sets too, correct?
100%. Yep.
100%. So the creative in this particular case, really, we haven't seen what the creative looks like, but it obviously calls out the avatar pretty effectively in open targeting.
Yeah.
Right. And you're looking at a larger pool of potential website converters when you're looking at a massive audience like open targeting. Open targeting in the US, I assume?
Yep.
US only?
Just US.
Okay. Would this work as well with less large audience? Let's say like a lookalike 1%, or maybe like some sort of detailed targeting. Like, what's your sense? Is there any sort of caveats to this testing methodology that you've seen?
We haven't gone into like cloning 5 Barbaras to start with this audience and then cloning 5 Barbaras with the other audience.
Mm-hmm.
When we tried Advantage Plus, everything died. When we started adding in different interested audiences, things got worse. Open targeting, for this client, for this campaign, this account, the Pixel has 2 years of great performance with this one product.
Right.
So it's almost like it's already learned everything it can on who the audience is. Right now, we have barely scratched the surface of this audience because they're like pet owners. If you own a dog, like that's how big our audience is. It's millions and millions, tens of millions of people. We're just kind of scratching the surface of it. Go ahead.
And your cold traffic percentage is enormous.
Yeah.
How do you account for that? Because I don't think we've ever seen that before. And we were talking about this before we hit record that, Wicked Reports actually did an analysis, and we did a podcast on this past week, 3,300 campaigns. And they found that the average new visitors in all those campaigns was 33%. Most were between 18 and 33%.
Yeah.
But you're looking at like 50, 60%. Is it because of, like, what are you doing on exclusions? I assume that you have exclusions in there, or is it because it's open targeting and it's just gonna, what's the explanation?
So the reason why I think this continually works at scale and in perpetuity, is because when it is in CBO campaign, it's going to take the ad that's performing the best and show it to the audiences that it wants. Form traffic and people they think are going to convert. So you're basically just kind of like stuck with buying the conversions again, similar to like PMAX or similar to automated bidding. Okay, just give me what you think you can find.
We've sung this song before over on the Google platform. Yeah,
exactly. Now in ABO, it's like I found, I have a new ad and I'm forcing you to spend. It's like, but I don't know if it's going to convert or not. It's like, doesn't matter. Here's $500 a day on 5 different ads on open targeting. You have to spend it now. Go. It's like, so it avoids the auto targeting. It avoids wanting to pick the creative auto target. It says, fine, I'll go show your ads to traffic. Like, thank you. That's what we wanted in the beginning anyway.
You're forcing it.
We're forcing it to do that.
Yeah.
And when you can take 5 ads times 5, you got 25 new ads that all have to spend $100 a day. It's like, go find people. It's like, well, shit, I have to go find new cold traffic now. It's not warm traffic I want. You're forcing me to go cold. And then that also allows us, though, to see, okay, if this is actually cold, which it is, that is the most amount of pure creative testing you could do. Because if I develop a new ad and it shows it to the warm audience, that ad's good. No, the audience is good. It's just the 7th ad they've seen. They're ready to buy now. But if it's like, this is the first time, or hopefully the first time that they've seen this ad, along with 10 other people, the first time they also seen the other ad, and then you get 10 data points from each one of those 10 new people, each on 10 new ads, that's creative testing. So it's almost like you remove the algorithm and you're like, no, you have to spend that way. And so even though it's like, I don't want to, but I'll do it. And that's when you get your actual creative testing and cold traffic.
Right. I mean, in theory, because you really are getting only about half cold traffic, half of Barbara's conversions could be to warm traffic. Yes, no. I mean, you still have that possibility. Like, you are getting cold traffic conversions for sure with those percentages, is my guess.
My hope is that first click accrual on a 7-day only look back. I think it's the best you could possibly get in any platform.
Okay.
So
I'm not poking holes. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
That's right. That's what we waited, is like, if you have to pick a source of truth, you have to play devil's advocate. It's like, but what if that's wrong? It's like, yes, but it is the closest technological advance you can possibly get to coldest traffic. And if you measure all of that by that singular source of truth, hopefully you'll find the best one. And if true, when you scale, you get results that we're getting, which is less money, more new customers.
Got it. All right. So you're in the laboratory half the time during the week. And then every now and then you sort of go out into the factory floor, but don't operate any machinery on tier 11. We had a big meeting on this week. We love when you're in the lab.
Yep.
What I would love, and like comment on this, maybe just theoretically, like a lot of the folks that are on today's call have seen the two-step strategy and we've used it. A lot of people are having great success with it, which is awesome, which is the reason why there's so many John Moran fans out there. Would the same thing potentially be able to work for Meta? Traffic campaign, just get the click and then scoop them all up with an Advantage Plus shopping or with just a straight website conversion ads, maybe slightly different creative.
Yeah.
Is that something that you can test in the John Moran diabolical laboratory? And what's your sense as to whether or not it may or may not work?
So I think so. There's a main factor that doesn't cross over between the two-step process in Google and the outbound campaign structure in Meta.
Okay.
Inbound with a restrictive campaign, like the two-step process in Google says, okay, I'm not going to spend money unless I know they're going to convert, and you can't spend the ad spend. Okay. Even if you wanted to. That's why
that's a T-ROAS, right?
Right. It's like, I'm not spending unless I know. And the only way it knows is if it's been to the website before or someone's like really, really close that they have been watching for a while.
I picture like a big Google robot, like with its arms folded. I will not give you those conversions unless I know they will convert.
I will not spend your money.
Spend your money.
So what's kind of interesting is on that two-step process, I'm like, okay, well then I just have to backfill what Google doesn't know. And that's where I just grab a whole bunch of traffic that's not ready to convert.
Yeah.
I don't think that exactly yet correlates to Meta, because on Meta, it's like, well, if I spend it or I don't spend it, I'm just going to go and find half cold traffic. Okay. But if you increase the budget, it will absolutely spend it. Unless you have a cost cap or a bid cap set. So it could be that you're running an Advantage Plus with a bid cap and then flooding it with a whole bunch of traffic. Then yes, I think it could work. But at that point in time, would it outperform this kind of creative testing at scale? Man, I don't know, because how much cold traffic how much cold traffic campaign, not conversion campaign, how much cold traffic campaign will it take for your conversion bid caps to say, now I know? I don't know. It'll be an interesting test. So it could be that's something that we'll go into the lab and develop. I think this one here, though, might be what we should try first.
Yeah.
Just because this thing is, I mean, we're adding $5,000 a week to this thing and getting better results, which is pretty cool.
I wouldn't mess with that.
Right.
I mean, you got something that's working right now.
Exactly.
Scale it until it doesn't. Really.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of getting new creative and constantly like pumping the market with new creative. It's an enormous market. That's really going to be your driver.
Right.
And then you just do a lot of the strategies that you do here. Maybe off to the side, you do a little test campaign to see if something like this will work. But overall, you've got a growth driver. You've figured out where that vein of gold is here. And you're digging as much as you can.
Yeah, exactly. And so hopefully this thing it'll stay like this and continue to scale. I'm hoping that I can keep cloning this thing and keep creative testing, where I want to come back in 3 weeks from now and be like, we have 50 ads running that are above goal and we've scaled $100,000. Like that's the goal.
That would be sick.
That's what we're hoping for. Yep.
More reason for you to tune in every single week here on the Tier 11 Live, because we will be getting back to this. You're seeing this as it actually happens, which is pretty cool. This isn't necessarily,
I'm 5 days ago.
Yeah, this is like 5 days in. During last week's show, we didn't even know we were going to be talking about this. You know what I mean? So that's how fresh it is here. So definitely make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates here. We've got a ton of questions here.
Let's do it. We got 20 minutes to dive into it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So Jose V says, it's our first question. For the Google shopping feeder strategy, do we set a low T-ROAS? What is the budget split between the T-ROAS campaign and the max clicks campaign? I think I know the answer to this.
All right, let me see. Google shopping feeder strategy. So it's not a shopping feeder strategy. It's just search.
Yeah.
That's going to be something that's really important. The shopping is not working at all compared to search. So I'm still working on that part. It is not reacting the same way. But if for a search, the budget split is always 1/5. So 4/5 T ROAS or TCPA, 1/5 on the max clicks. Shopping, I'm trying high and low priority. I mean, everything is, it's like you see it start to blip up, but 20% of spend is actually resulting in only like 2% more clicks. And that's not where we want to go. So shopping is still working, but for search, 4/5 on your automated bidding strategy, 1/5 on your max clicks, because your max clicks, even on 1/5 of the ad spend, can sometimes match or even exceed the clicks that we get on the restricted bidding strategy one.
Got it. So Jose V, yeah, search, not Google Shopping. There might have been a typo in here, but anyway, there's your answer. John Moran's dog. I think it's got to be our favorite listener, really. Best show. Appreciate the props. John Moran's dog, of course. All right, John Moran's disciple. Oh my God.
Oh man,
people are just making up names around you.
I'm gonna have a whole cult soon. Just by the way,
you really are. You're like
I know.
The new Jim Jones.
I'm gonna have. We're all gonna drink some Kool-Aid soon.
Absolutely, go down to French Guiana or wherever the hell they were. Would it make sense to use device bid adjustments if website conversion rate is double on PC than mobile? Would splitting out smart bidding campaigns by device make sense if budget is constrained?
So I here's a few things. Device bid adjustments, if you're looking at like bid up and bid down, if you're on automated bidding strategies, don't work. You can set them, but they are not actually recognized by Google. So if you're like on a TCPA, T ROAS, maximize conversions, maximize conversion value, the bidding strategy adjustments or the device adjustments don't work. So just FYI there. You have to be on like a manual CPC or max clicks or some of that, something that doesn't auto bid.
Okay.
Now, on the second part of that, go into your last 30 days and inside of Google Ads, go into tools under measurement and conversions. You'll see something called attribution. Go into attribution and look at the last 30 days, and you'll actually see the cross-device conversions that Google has been able to identify. And usually you only identify like half of them, maybe half. It would be amazing. 40% probably more accurately. But you'll see sometimes like 30% of your conversions this last month had cross-device activity, meaning they started on one platform and they ended on different platforms. Start on mobile, end on desktop. Usually that's the way to go. People don't usually start on desktop and on mobile. But look at that, and because that is actually a very important thing to know, should you stop bidding on one or the other or bid less if you're going to try it? Because if you're like, hey, there's zero cross device and mobile usually does it, all right, then no one's really doing anything on computer. But if they're starting on mobile and ending on computer, your computer gets the attribution, but your click got on mobile. So one arbitrarily looks wrong. So make sure that you know they're not starting on one, ending on the other one, making one look good because it's warm traffic on their second visit. So look at that first. The higher the percentage of cross-device activity, the less effective you'll be top line for making bid adjustments by device.
Got it. Makes sense. All right. We have a nomination here. You're the best Google guy. It's going to be. So
going to be the best meta guy. Thank you.
Yeah. Best
I'm trying.
Ever. Yeah. Anyway, when you know one platform, the other platform is a lot easier to understand.
Start helping.
Yeah, absolutely. John Moran's dog is back for more. What are the main reasons for one, prioritizing cold traffic over warm traffic? Number two, choosing standard shopping over PMAX.
Yep. So main reasons, as an example, the first question right there, prioritizing cold traffic over warm traffic, is the same thing as saying, why would you prioritize prospecting new customers versus doing just remarketing?
Yeah.
So that's the same exact scenario. When you say cold traffic versus warm, means prospecting versus remarketing. You always prioritize prospecting. Just reference. Standard shopping means that it is not going to have auto targeting of a user on multiple channels. PMAX will use search, shopping, YouTube, GSP, Discover, Display to target anybody it thinks is going to convert existing customer or warm traffic or not. Right. Cold traffic says someone has to go to Google and type in a non-brand search term. So most of the time you get like 80% cold versus 20% cold. And that's the main reason why warm traffic is more PMAX. Cold traffic is more standard shopping.
Makes sense. Yeah. Themes we've hit on prior. Soren22 says, for the same feeder strategy, would you use shared budget or individual budget? how do you make sure you don't run into irrelevant search terms for TROAS campaigns?
Yep. So you don't use a share budget. You want only 20% of the budget to go to your max clicks campaign, and not forever, only for about 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then you'll see that your TROAS campaign can scale without having to scale the max clicks campaign. So the ultimate goal is to get out of the max clicks campaign and into a scalable TROAS campaign, but you need 20% of your budget inside of your max clicks campaign to feed the TROAS campaign so it can scale. The second thing is your irrelevant search terms in TROAS campaign are going to happen all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
And you want that because what you want to see is one impression, one click on an odd search term, and one conversion, because it says, okay, I know that person been to the website. They're still searching and they might be off into different tangents in their search, but I know they're about ready to convert. So grab them, bring them back. I mean, you almost could say if I'm ready to buy like a water bottle and I go to Google and I know I want to buy a water bottle and I type in best running shoe, if I see an ad for a water bottle, I'm like, oh yeah, I did need to buy that. So it's like the search, what they're searching for is irrelevant. Google's trying to find the time when they're ready to convert. It just happens to be something relevant to the search term.
When and if is it right in these campaigns? We never really talked about this all that much, or something that maybe you don't even do, is that if you do go in and you realize that, okay, there's a bunch of specific like long tail keywords or long tail search words, do you use negative keywords in these campaigns or no? Like there's got to be some that just don't convert. You're going to see the one click 0 conversions. We like the one click 1 conversion, but do you go back in and try and modify the campaigns in any way, shape, and form in order to eliminate those people that are just obvious looky-loos, or maybe looking for something else, or the product is, a name for something that's not related, to the end goal? Like, what's your sense there?
I think I can pull up our RV friends.
I think we could.
I think so too. All right, I'm going to pull up our RV friends.
We blur this out.
Yep. Excuse me. I'm just dying all over the place right here. So check this out here.
You're doing all right. You're doing all right. John Moran limping to the finish line here.
I know. I'm dragging myself to the end. So here's that same feeder strategy inside of here. And we can see already that the results are very good. Yada, yada, yada. We basically spent $746 less and made $28,000 more. Like, great. Like, this breakout to the feeder strategy is actually going to put us to a point where we can get all of these TCPA campaigns to do exactly what we want to do and get limited by budget and say, hey, I can spend more now. Like, I'm starting to be able to scale up in these areas where 250 to 650, but we think the cost per conversion is going to go down. Good. I want this to think it can scale. Again, rolling the first 10 days, it's starting to work. Now, here's the other part. If you look at the click campaign, these click campaigns are all on all on exact match. So no matter what, you go in here. This will be fun. Ralph, choose a campaign off of here. Just name like the only difference by TXCAFLNY. Blah blah.
How about the WA one?
Right
in the middle.
There it is. WA. Okay.
WA.
So now if we go into search terms for WA, I'm going to sort descending. I'll just turn off the comparison so it's not comparing to nothing.
Yeah.
Which one of these do you not want?
I'm looking at there's a lot that I don't want right now.
To search terms?
Yeah. I'm not seeing any conversions on a lot of them.
Oh, this is our max clicks campaign, not designed for conversions. This is only
okay.
This is the first click. So that's what's cool is what first click in a person's journey would you not want on this list?
Jeez, I don't know. I don't think any.
We want them all.
We want them all.
Right. Yeah. So because that's relevant, that's relevant.
Thank God I passed the test.
Right. Now that's what's cool is like for a company that does RV rentals to have the majority of the clicks coming from RV rentals. Great. Now I only got one conversion and it doesn't really look that great. But then when you flip over to the other ones, what's funny is if I look at, let me go back to in here and I go into a campaign that then says not this, but TCPA. And now when I look at the same WA,
where's WA?
And then I look into the search terms. I look at the clicks sitting here.
Yeah.
Like all of these, I want all these as well. Now, this has nothing to do with this keyword.
Yep.
And not the keyword. Like that's RV rentals on one word. This is, near me. Like all of these are if they're also really, really, really close, where can I rent an RV from? Excellent. Like all of these are looking good here. But that's what's nice is when you use exact match first click, everything else down the line should be extremely relevant.
Yeah.
Right. Now
Because you're pre-qualifying them because they've shown interest.
Yeah. Now, if someone says like, is an RV awesome? I don't care. I want that because Google is only bidding on it because they think they're ready to convert. And it's not up to me to say, no, I know better than you, Google. I don't think that person was ready. They're like, it's been 6.4 days and it's the third search today. They've been to 2 of your competitors. Like they already know that.
Right.
And I'm just going to leverage that.
Got it. Well, I just realized we got a ton of questions here, so we might.
Oh my God, everyone!
Oh my God! Well, do a rapid fire here. John Moran's dog. If a client can't track, you can just read these out and then answer.
If a client can't track new versus returning customers, non Shopify, what's the best approach? Get Wicked. Get Wicked report. Honestly, guys, I'm using it in front of you on purpose.
Yeah, heard it right there. And
hey,
plus, seriously, like we just said, like if we want something, all we have to do is just ask them. And then they incorporate it. So that's why we have all the MPIs that are in there now. So all right.
And I know that sounds like a really stupid thing, but the reason why I keep showing it all over is because if I had it somewhere else for free, I'd be showing that instead.
Yeah. There you go.
We do pay out of pocket for that.
We do. We do. We pay a lot for it. Yeah. More ways than one.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Artur, thanks for coming back. Yeah, I think we just pronounced his name correctly. There you go.
All right. We nailed it. All right. Do you guys think about the impact of Advantage Plus audience versus original audience and meta? I found out differences in performance of audience types in different scenarios. Do you use cost caps? Okay. So yeah, the Advantage Plus audiences, in my opinion, are that's Meta's way to sell you conversions. And when you scale up, what we found out with Advantage Plus, it's like, all right, I got 500 junk users and 7 converters, like double the budget. It's like, I have 1,000 junk users and 8 conversions. You're like, well, wait a minute. Like I doubled the budget. Why am I doubling the sales? It's like, I still have the same warm traffic I'm waiting to buy. I'm just funneling in all of the shit traffic to your site that is maybe relevant. And you see the engagement rate of that scalable first click traffic is like 6%, but the people it's waiting to getting the clicks on are like 48% engagement, 62% engagement, like really good quality traffic. You can scale, but if it didn't find anybody from that scale, you're kind of out of luck. So Advantage Plus basically just says, I will spend your money on whatever I want, but I'm still going to only wait until the people that I think are going to convert are ready, and then I'll spend your money and convert on those.
Yeah, absolutely. Very similar to like the algorithms are the same.
Yeah. Joey, I know you've been working on this one too. And me and Joey have been going back and forth. He's in a mastermind of mine, but it's like, would love to hear the results of the shopping feeder strategy. Tried a few ways, cannot get into full spend. I'm in that same boat. I cannot get it to spend. So I don't think feeder strategy for shopping is working just yet, but I'll go back to the lab and work on something else. We're going to try to see if we can get this to work. I have a few ideas. It just sucks when I need to wait each week to find out that I failed or passed.
We have to start boiling some new beakers and like some hydrochloric acid or something like that in the lab. Artur again.
I got to go rent an RV and go from our clients and go out to the desert in Albuquerque.
That's exactly it. Well, you can rent multiple times, apparently.
Anybody watch Breaking
Bad? Yeah. Big Breaking Bad fan. I can't watch it before I go to bed, though. That's my big problem.
I'll be up till 4.
I'll be up until 4 a.m. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, Artur is back with another question here. If you want to read that out loud.
All right. By the way, I did the feeder strategy on a newer account and lowered the CAC from 120 to 46, and now it can scale. Yes, I love that. I love that. Awesome. That is a 70% drop in NCAC. Beautiful.
That's insane. Well done. All right.
Amazing.
Anyone want to discuss John's strategies together? Obviously not here. Oh,
wait, Larry, did you literally just kick me out of my own group discussion? That's messed up, man.
Very callback. Okay. All right. Tyler asks, how do you go about thinking about omni-channel media strategy? If you could use an oversimplified example, that would be great.
Yep. Spend in the channels you think are going to work. Measure everything to the top line to see if you made the right decision or not. Wrong decision, NCAC goes up. Right decision, NCAC holds or goes down.
Cool. All right. I now see what Larry was doing. He was just trying to make some friends with people that were in the audience. And he did that with Artur. So there you go. Good job. That's what this is all about.
I actually meet with Larry sometimes, so he's my friend.
Nice. Tyler asks, how do you go about thinking about omnichannel media? Or did we just ask this?
Yeah, we
just asked that. All right. Sorry about that. All right, Roel, John, could you reflect on your Meta L1, LT, L3 setups are doing?
Yeah, we've been switching it over to ABO. That was what this thing was about. L1 is still very, very, very good. But Seems like the cloned ABOs are scaling a little bit more effectively so far.
Okay. Well, he asked that at 2:39, so he hadn't really seen
Yeah.
anything as of yet. All right.
That's true. That's very fair.
Soren wants to know about Revenue Rush. When's the Revenue Rush program taking off?
It's gonna be a few months. Yeah.
Got a couple of months. Yeah.
Yeah,
John's in the laboratory still in front of them.
That's why this studio is built here.
The video studio. Yeah. That's why he sees like John Moran's head when he wears a black shirt. It's great.
All right. I know. We built a whole studio here, and I just need the black couch in the corner.
All right. John Moran's dog again. I guess it's probably the last time we're going to let him ask a question, but how to manage MER goals when handling only some channels, i.e. Google Ads, while client other agency manages others? Very good question, actually.
You really can't.
Yeah.
That's it. You really can't. I mean, you're basically like, unless you and the other agencies can actually have discussions to work towards top line goals for the client, what you're doing is you're running this way and the other people are running that way. And you're like, how do we run at the same speed?
Yeah.
You can't. You got to be on the same field.
It's really tough. Even when we worked together between Solutions 8 and Tier 11 on stuff, we met less than I thought we were meeting. You know, it's hard to coordinate it because you get so many other things going on all the time. All right. Powell, I'm butchering his name. Powell says, for me, Facebook and Google are now so blind to conversions that I have been testing absolutely no conversion tracking for 3 months. I feel like I started with Google AdWords in 2008.
See, I remember years ago when not years ago, 2 years ago, when I started to like produce things like media efficiency ratio and NCAC metrics, and everyone's like, you're stupid. And it's vindicating. So thank you very much to be like, yep, I don't see shit anymore. It's like, yeah, I know.
Powell's part of your tribe. All right. Stuart Little recently got a client at beauty school business. Leads dropped more than 50% since September 2023 upon realizing found out bid strategy changed from max conversion TCPA to max conversion value. Should I change it back?
Man, there's so many other things that I gotta ask that we don't have time for.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, max conversion is max conversion value.
It's a loaded question.
You're doing targeted cost per acquisition. So here's the thing. I would say if it was like we changed it, got worse. Absolutely. Because one's measuring amount of, people, the other one's measuring how much each one of those people are worth. So it's very, very bad idea to say like, hey, forget everything you knew about these people, only count the value. It's like, I'm going to have to relearn. So if that happened in September 2023, absolutely change it back. If you're like, hey, I did it last week. No, it's not enough time.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, let's rapid fire these last ones here from Tyler. Do you turn off the winning ad after a point of diminishing returns?
I'm guessing that's in the ABO. We have not found that yet. We're still cloning. So we'll find out like, okay, once we cloned it 37 times, it stopped working. Like that's what I'll hopefully update you on.
The argument could be made that all the ads that aren't actually getting conversions might be actually assisting the ones that are getting the conversions. We'll have to figure out exactly how that pays out here. Yeah. So we'll keep tuning in every single week to Tier 11 Live. All right, Tyler, again, I misunderstood. What's the point of duplicating the ads? Is that to scale while testing creative?
Yeah, it's on ABO, which means the asset group that when you clone it, you double the budget.
Yep, exactly. All right, Hunter says, scenario, e-com client pinball machine distributor that's just started. Very cool, by the way. Price floor, so everyone is offering same price, 15 and 20,000 available ad spend per month. Approach to immediately gain share. Holy shit, that's a low budget, is what I would say.
Everyone's 15 to 20K available ad spend per month. All right, so pinball machine distributor that's just starting. So I would imagine that they have probably a lot of brand names of pinball machines. So I would start immediately, just a standard shopping per brand name of pinball machine to see if there's any available traffic looking for a specific manufacturer or type of pinball machine or even the game thereof. Pac-Man versus, I know it's not pinball, but I don't know pinball, but you get it. But segment them out immediately because you're going to want to find shopping inbound customers first. Yeah. Because that's going to be your highest amount of conversion because you don't have any ad spend to test top of funnel.
Brand name, not necessarily manufacturers, but brand name of the games themselves is what you're
or manufacturers too. I have no idea anything about pinballs. There could be 10,000 people looking for like the pinball machine. I don't know.
Got it. Okay.
That's not my job. Yeah, Hunter, that's up to you.
That's up to you. That's your job there.
You got to do that research.
Yeah. Well, write us a check though when you figure it out because we definitely contributed to your success here by whatever.
Or subscribe to my OnlyFans.
That's right.
All right.
Tyler's got, for these creatives, are you using dynamic ad creative? Good question, actually.
Actually, no, we are not.
No. All right. Not
That's
at
one of the
all.
reasons why we were safe with cloning, so that it didn't start changing after we cloned them. Oh, God,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't drop water on your computer. Yeah, that's actually a really good question, because I mean, you want the creative to be exactly the same. If you're using dynamic creative, then you don't know which combination is actually working.
Exactly. So I had to turn that off to make sure it didn't go haywire after we cloned it.
Yep. When you see a winning ad creative, do you move it to L1?
You know what's funny is that's what we did. We moved it to L1. It failed. We moved it back and succeeded. So we're like, well, let's just clone it over here.
Wow. That's wild.
I know. Surprising, right? Because that was the plan, to move it into L1. When we found the creative testing, we just drop it in. But we dropped it in, it did exponentially worse. When we cloned it, it stayed the same performance. I was like, all right, okay. And that's because L1 was just like, aha, thanks for the new ad. I'm going to target that audience. That didn't work. All right, give me more. No, we needed us be in control of where it goes.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, last question here, and then there's somebody asking for a job, which I can respond to. Fontanos. I'm going to say that we have a hotel that aims to boost Fontanos as a hotel that aims to boost bookings on its website, also being listed on popular platforms like Booking.com and Airbnb. How should we approach managing such an account with Google Ads?
Yep. So do Google Ads for hotels. Honestly, that is a whole thing. You get placement inside of like the booking stuff. Let's do this. I don't know if I can't drop probably in a comment. Dang it. Actually, let me just share screen. Do this, for example, because I don't have time to explain it, but start looking into this. Hotel campaigns in Google Ads. Google Ads is a whole area specifically for hotels. They get you into the websites, directions, your reviews, your compare prices. You get inside. Basically, you just get put into the people that hotels.com, Trivago, insert hotel name here, Holiday Inn. All of them are in here. So when you look at like hotels near me, this right here, like, oh, you're put into these like specific hotels. Like, so you got your star ratings, your all of the stuff is all designed for hotels. You get placed here as well. Like, you got a whole subset of hotels made for you inside of Google. Go check that out. Just Google Ads for hotels. It'll start to teach you what you need to do.
Killer. Stuart was asking for a job. At this point, no, we are not, but you can always apply at tier11.com. So we are at full capacity right now, and we actually have capacity. That's one of the things that we built out this team, and now we need to pump it through. So, all right, very, very cool. Sorry for everyone who did ask a question and we didn't get to.
I think we got through all of them except for one, maybe, or two.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's still more coming in, but yeah, we got through a lot of them.
we got a fair amount. So anyway, so we're gonna update this over the next coming weeks. John Moran, Meta Guy, thank you so much for this week's Tier 11 Live.
I know, right? It's a weird thing to be called.
It's a weird thing. See,
I feel like I'm cheating on Google.
We're helping you scale and grow as a human by just adding more platforms, broadening your horizons.
Next week, TikTok.
That's what next week, TikTok. He's a TikTok expert. Wow. What's John going to be next?
And now on John Talk.
Oh my God. That's great. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everyone's questions, engagement. These are getting really, really good. And obviously you'll see this in a pre-roll ad near you very soon. Thanks to John Moran. Till next week. We'll talk to you all soon.
See you, everyone. Thanks all.